Now on to study life or student life. Student life. I'm very glad that I'm almost done. First of all, if you're in a country that doesn't speak English, you have two options. You're either studying in the language of the country or you're doing English medium. For Russia, you're either studying in Russian or you're studying in English. If you're a medical student, honestly, it's pointless to study in English because more advanced professors, the more experienced ones, they don't speak English because they're the old ones. Number two, when you go for your rotations and you need to take your patient history, what language would you take it in? Of course, not English. They don't speak English. You will take your patient history in Russian language. And I see people in the English medium really struggling. They would go to a patient more than 10 times because they forgot to ask something or they didn't know how to ask it. They go out, they think about what to ask, then come back in. Why? Because you guys are studying in English while we study in Russian. So we are used to the language. We're used to hearing these things over and over again. So you just go in, what's your name, age, where do you stay, profession, какие жалобы, what are your complaints. It's very easy. So you find that when we go with people who are taking English, because I've been in a rotation where we had people who are speaking English, they're literally, it's now like they have to bring their heads together. While for us, we just get in 10 minutes, you're done. You have your whole patient history. That's number one. Number two, the ones who study in English pay twice more than us. In Russian medium, I pay $3,300. For English medium, they pay about $6,000. And you know, the funny thing is that your board exam is in Russian. So why pay double the price and then end up to do your exam in Russian? Because in the 5th year is now when they begin to take them back into Russian language and train. It's a bit of a struggle. So think about it and choose which one suits you. So you've decided what language you're studying in. Your next step is to understand their studying systems. Russian system is different from home. I'll be very honest, especially the medical schools. I don't know about other people's medical schools, but for Volgograd State Medical University, it's not the same as home. In Kenya, you sit in a hall of over 600 people and the lecturer gives lecture in a hall of over 600 people or even 1,000. Those, like, you study in mass amounts. That's not the case in Russia. We study in small groups of 10 to 15 people. This 10 to 15 people, the teacher knows all of you by names because when you get in every day, every morning, they sign do you remember signing the way teachers used to sign registers? I don't know about other people, but in Kenya, the way your teacher used to call Mariana, present, Nana, present, it's the same thing. They mark the register of who is present and who is not. So the teacher knows you, which is a very good approach because you're a smaller group, so the quality of teaching is a bit better. You can ask questions, it's more interactive. For us, you miss classes, I think I've said it before, you pay per hour, and then you need to repeat that class, repeat the day you missed, answer the questions on that topic, and then clear the unit. Because if you don't clear your new units, you're not doing your exams, you're not getting your разрешение. What is разрешение? You're not getting your разрешение for your class. Another thing is you need to understand your curriculum. The school's website, there's a topic plan of the whole unit of what topics are going to be done on what day. I'll just tell you straight up, do not expect that you will be taught here in Russia. It's more of you teach yourself. The teacher comes to mark or to, hey, God, English is even going away to оценить. What is to оценить? To rate your knowledge in that area. If you're lucky enough, you'd get lecturers who you say something and it's not correct, they will correct it and explain to you why it's wrong, why it's not wrong, or why that concept is not that, is this. Or maybe you're okay, but here you need to go this way. but it's very rare. It's very, very rare that you study, you come home, or you come from home to school, and the first thing, as you sit in class, the first thing you do is a test. We have tests every single day. I think tests stopped in 5th year, but there used to be some teachers where we used to do them every single day. But from 1st to 4th year, you enter class. It's either you're lucky enough if your test is for the class you went through, but most of the times the test you're sitting in is for the topic that the teacher is supposed to teach that day. And they call it, we are checking your we're checking your knowledge. And then the thing is, this affects your grade because they will give you points for it. Then in your exam, they will summarize the points you got in class. They will also summarize the point you get in your exam, and it will give you an average. So you really, 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 really have to try hard. But the Russian system is just basically self-study. Literally, it's like I teach myself. Sometimes I used to think, why am I paying school fees? Can I just go to my country, study on my own, come back and do these exams? But we tend to have very good lecturers once in a while who are passionate about it. So that is also how the studying system works. And also we have classroom courtesies. I don't know how to call them, but we have things whereby, you remember in primary school, when the teacher enters the class, you stand up? Yes, that is the same culture here in Russia. Your lecturer or your teacher enters the class, you stand up. It's respect. You stand up. And when he says sit down is when you can sit down. If we are in the middle of a class and another teacher comes in to talk to your lecturer, you stand up. And we say "Здравствуйте," like hello. Then she'll be like, "Присаживайтесь," then you sit. So that is also one of the things here. The culture is a bit, it's different. There's a lot of respect. If you're a medical student, just know that in Russia, we do more theory. And I think I've also heard it in European countries, they do more theories. If you have a chance of going home every year, it's very nice. You can go home and attach yourself somewhere and take an internship of a month or 2, because either way we have 2 months for summer vacation. So attach yourself somewhere. I remember I went to Kenya during COVID and I was just in 2nd year. I just done anatomy, physics. I did physics again, chemistry, biochemistry, histology. So the only medical base I had was anatomy and histology. I had not, and microbiology, because we had just done microbiology. I didn't have pharmacology. I didn't have pathologies and physiologies. So it was a bit, so I remember the doctor looked at me, so what are we going to do? Anyway, I still interned and I learned a lot. I came back, and when we started pharmacology was a bit easier for me because I saw these drugs. For me, I'm a person who, once I do something, I don't forget it. I don't. It's like it replays in my head down to the T. So the dosages we did when we were home, especially because I got a chance to be in to run a diabetic clinic and hypertension clinic. That was on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yes, and do ward rounds. And I was very lucky to intern under a doctor who studied here. So he knew how difficult he is. He taught me how to literally draw blood. He taught me, okay, this antibiotic is like this. In case of this, we use this antibiotics instead, or in case of this, we use a higher dosage. I did not know. It did not make sense to me because I had not gone through it. But the way he explained it, it was very logical. So when I came back to sit for my exams, it was for pharmacology. It was like, I understand. I now see down to the details the mechanism of action, why they can counter-interact or not. So if you get a chance, go home and do your practice. Like when the visits, when you go home for summer holidays, just attach yourself somewhere, even if it's for a month, to just to get a feel of around, because we literally don't do practicals. The maximum you can do is auscultations, palpations maybe, and mannequins. Oh, arterialne давление, pressure, measuring pressure, and that's the maximum. The only other thing we do, if it's injections, we do them on a mannequin, and even we didn't do them until 5th year, is when we are learning injections on a mannequin, CPR of course on a mannequin, and all these first aid protocols on mannequins. So if you need good practice, home is the answer for you. And of course, all work with no play makes Jack a dull boy. So see, it's okay to study, it's okay to work, but you need hobbies. You need to have something that you do that is not related to school. It can be trying out restaurants, it can be going for walks, it can be going to the gym. Exercising is very important because I realized medical school we are having a sidiashi or brazilian. We sit a lot, we don't move a lot here. So please find a hobby, like traveling. Try something out. You're in a new country, for crying out loud. Try something. It really is nice. It refreshes you, because if you're just studying, then from studying you're going to work back to studying, work to study, the life becomes a bit repetitive, and now there is no joy in it. But if you find something that disrupts that, watching a movie, going out and meet people, also commune with people, form very important, form very good relationships. That takes me to the next point: build meaningful relationships. I repeat, build meaningful relationships. You can have friends just for friends, but build meaningful relationships whereby you can talk your mind about things. You can ask, hey, what do you think about this? Where can I go for this? What can I do here? Because the friendships I've had here, God, I think that's one thing I'm very grateful for, that I have very good friends. That I have very good friends, because I know there's some who went home and I can still text them and ask, how is it going? How is the process? What can I do? I need English notes for this. Send me. They send. It's nice to build connection, because there's one thing my mom says: your friendships are your connections, and those connections are those are also your children's connection if you're going to have a family, because the people you studied with in university are the ones who will go in different offices. They'll be in different fields. They will if it's in medicine, maybe I will take gastroenterology, someone else might take surgery, someone else. But when I'm doing my internship rotations, who am I going to ask how the internship rotations go? It's these same people. So make meaningful relationships. It's like you build a small family here, and it does not become very lonely. It does not become very sad. And also maintain your connections with home. Talk if it's help. Talk to them, because sometimes family to be held up by your family is also very nice. To be encouraged by them is also very good. So build meaningful relationships with people, and of course know yourself. You will get a culture shock. I got a shock whereby in my entire life I had never seen a woman smoke cigarettes, but in Russia it's very normal. It's like everybody smokes on the streets, and that someone is holding the child on the right hand, on the other hand they're smoking. It's not a good, we call them вредные привычки. It's not a good thing, but those are some of the things that really shocked me. And how the Russian, especially, they have a very short temperament. I don't understand the language, so if you ask, repeat again, the second repeating is repeating for shouting. So get used to it. They just shout until you learn how to speak, and tell them, hey, can you now speak normal, because I don't like being shouted at. I'm still baby, I'm still children, don't shout at me. So sometimes they're really short-tempered, and you also need to learn how to navigate that and stand up for yourself, because also if you don't, that's another reason why you really need to learn the language, because if you don't, you will make a lot of mistakes. You will, oh my god, last story. I remember I got scammed because I didn't understand language. Oh my god, I did not. It was that time for COVID when we used to buy things online. I swear everything looked the same as the online shops. But the link, because we used to buy, it's normally they send a link and then you click, you buy and you pay. So the link was written at a different amount, but I didn't notice because I didn't understand Russian very well. And that's how I got scammed. Don't be like me. Really, just don't be like me. Try your best and learn the language, because it will save a lot of stress, a lot of legalities, because I realized the moment I speak for myself, I am not scammed, because the bank used to charge us for a card. Then I came to realize that we're not supposed to be paying for a card. So you realize, or you learn lots of things, and then also make friends with just not international people, with locals. I have very good friends, Russian friends, and it's nice. They will tell you, why will you buy that for that amount? It's not a law. It's not correct. And then you're like, really? So be very, very, very careful. Anyway, that's all I had for today. I hope this helped you somewhere, somehow. I hope this eases out or gives you a rough idea of how life is, or how abroad life is. Want you to have a better experience than I actually did. That's all for today. I will see you on the next video. Peace.